welcome back to another video. We are now 11 days away from Rhubarb arriving with us. Yes, welcome back again. Today what we're going to do is go through the last final things we have to do, a bit about the groups that we've been involved in. We wanted to go through some of the advice that we're being given from friends, family members and people from the rescue. For the first 48 hours, Rhubarb's got to stay in the house other than our back garden. When we were in the group, first things people were asking was, we've got to keep them for 2 days. Should we be having visitors over at that time? So what they've kind of said is, the puppy's got to get used to your normal life. Don't put off guests coming for weeks and weeks and weeks because you don't want it to turn into an issue. So after the first 48 hours, have family members over, have friends with people who normally visit the house. Straight away, get used to leaving the puppy. We don't want the issue where we can't leave the house without her. Obviously we're going to keep it to a minimum. Never leave her longer than, a few hours, but we're going to start trying to leave her for a little bit every so often.
Yeah, that's why we've got the pet cam.
Yeah.
Even for the first couple of days, if we just leave the room and shut the door and watch on the pet cam, see how she is for 10-15 minutes, work up to an hour or something, we just pop to the shop and come back. Because obviously we don't want to leave her for an entire day, that's not what we're going to do. But we are going to make it so that she can be alright on our own for a couple of hours at most. Another thing is to get her used to the fact that there's another pet here. We have Bertie, he's got his own room, and in that he's got his own hutch, so he's got his own place to run about. It's his. They recommended doing that straight away as soon as she's off the van. When she's a bit confused with what's going on, just let her sniff around, let her go into Bertie's room. A great way to do it is to get your dog to lie down in a submissive position, so they're completely flat on the floor, and have your rabbit come over if they're comfortable. Keep your dog on the floor. Never shout at your dog or tell them off for being inquisitive or wanting to play, because that's just natural to them. But they don't understand a rabbit's defense mechanisms or anything like that. It's predator versus prey. So you have to make sure that they are submissive and the dog is just going to lie there.
I've got a GoPro, so when she's coming off the van next week, I'm going to have the GoPro on her somewhere, kind of get those first moments. We'll take some obviously of her scouting about the house.
Yeah.
And
meeting Bertie,
meeting our little bird.
Yeah, so with regards to the first few hours of her being in here, a lot of the rescue chat were saying, what about a bath? You might have mentioned it last week with the puppy care stuff. We asked, how quickly do you bath the puppy? And they did say it depends on the puppy, which is understandable, but basically if you can do it that same night once they've settled, then that's great, it'll get them used to it. And it gets you close to them as well, it's that bonding of touching the puppy and things, but it depends how settled they are. If they're very anxious, then they did say wait 24 to 36 hours.
Yeah.
We'll see with that as well, but the rescue chat that we're in is amazing because there's vet nurses in there, which is amazing because they can give some really sound advice on pet plans. There are people who've had rescue dogs before, some that are like us who've never had a puppy before but do have other pets. So we're all from different experiences, different parts of the country, but it's really good to get everyone's opinion.
Everyone has different views, don't they? The next tip we got was on toilet training. So as I mentioned last week, we stacked up on loads and loads of puppy pads, and basically on Sunday a friend told us that it's great puppy pads, however it's kind of like bend the potty. I never had a potty, my sister never had a potty.
I don't know if I had a potty, I don't really remember that.
It's kind of like a middle ground where it's not getting them to the stage you need them to be at, however it's kind of a helpful support. So lovely girl I taught me basically said, when you first get the puppy, what you want to do is after playtime and every hour, take them straight into the garden, see if they want to have a wee, poo, whatever they want to do, even if it's just getting them used to, this is where I do it. I am fully expecting I'm going to wake up to many accidents. I'm just going to get really excited and just going to wee all over the carpet. And even if you're up for it, set alarms during the night for say 2:30 and 4:30. Take your puppy outside, and if the wee or if the poo, great, loads and loads of praise, a treat.
It's important not to give negative reinforcement for natural things.
Yeah.
So
barking.
Yeah, so barking, don't shout at them to stop, distract them and then praise them for doing something else. Also got some advice from a friend to give one-word commands. Now we did that with Alfie as well, which is my Labrador, if you haven't noticed or realised this by now. So yeah, we use one-word or one-syllable commands if you can. It's just the sound of the word and the inflection you put on it that the dogs can really hear.
The puppy does not speak English or Romanian, so they are looking for familiar sounds. So walkies, sit, stay, leave. When it's time for bedtime, we're going to say good night, and then she'll get used to then going into the crate, and it's like, oh, good night means go to my crate, the light's going to go off and they're going to go to bed.
Oh, I don't know.
Spain.
Spain. That wonderful country in Europe. Very hot.
Spain!
So the advice that we got given was, especially with male dogs, but luckily Rhubarb is female, neuter them as soon as you can, because obviously they're not as domesticated as dogs from this country, because a lot of them are strays, so they've got that survival instinct, and I believe if you don't neuter them, they can be a little bit standoffish.
Yeah.
So all the rescuers do give the advice to neuter pups as soon as possible. Once they've had the first season of being on heat, then get them spayed. So we are going to do that as soon as we can. I believe it's around 6 to 8 months. I've never had a female dog, so I don't know what to expect there, but I know that there is some bleeding and things, howling and crying and just feeling uncomfortable like us women do every time of the month. But for them it's twice a year, I believe. You have to allow them to have the first season, so the sexual maturity age, and then from there we'll book her into the vets, get her spayed, so no little baby rhubarbs will be running around. So Brooke's gonna talk about the travel side of things in a bit more detail, and away she goes.
So basically just what I wanted to kind of explain was what's happening as she's travelling over here. Next Friday the transport company will go to Elizabeth's land and collect all of the puppies that she has to travel. So they'll be collected on the Friday. They'll make sure they have their puppy passports, proof of all of their jabs and flea and worm treatments, and proof of their microchipping. All the dogs will then be loaded onto the van, making sure they're all safe and comfortable. They get a ferry over from Romania over to England. The ferry comes into Folkestone, and at which point it's then split into 4 vans. There's one that goes south, one that goes to Midlands, one that goes across to Wales, and one that goes upwards, which is for us and Scotland way. On that day, they arrive in England in Folkestone on the Sunday. It's usually Sunday morning time. We will then receive an ETA what time she's going to arrive here. Go to the van and collect her with a slip lead on, bring her upstairs and put her down in front of food and water. The food that we've been told to put down in front of her is mashed potato or rice and some chicken, human food. So basically the point of that is over there she's on kibble and a chicken soup that Elizabeth makes for them on an evening, just to set her tummy after the travelling.
It's just about a week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about a week. Well, thank you for watching again, guys, and we shall see you next week.